Hi, this is Deborah at the Labyrinth, and this is the Wicca series that we've been doing. And we've already gone over the Wheel of the Year, pantheons, gods and goddesses, what witches are and aren't, and little history of the intro. Well, before we get into the magic, we're going to get into the phases of the moon for magic. I'm going to talk about the Wiccan Rede, which is ethics, and then we're going to get into spells in the next segment. So phases of the moon for magic, a lot of Wiccans or witches or magical practitioners, they like to work on either the full moon or the new moon. Now, some of us that are a little picayune, or if it's really something that's really desperate that you need to do magically, you might want to do it at a different time. It depends on what you're doing. So we have the new moon, which is the day of the new moon and 3.5 days after. And the best time to do magic at this time on the new moon is between dawn and sunset. And the spells that would be associated for this time would be beauty, health, self-improvement, farms and gardens, job hunting, love and romance, and networking. And everything that I'm telling you that's on this sheet also will be available to you in this video if you like, so don't worry about that. Then we've got the Crescent Moon, which is 3.5 days after new moon to the 7th day. And the timing for this one is when the moon rises mid-morning and sets after sunset. That's the time that you would send out the energy to make your changes. And the reason for that would be for anything to do with animals, businesses, change, handling emotions, or feminine strength. Then we have the first quarter, which is the waxing moon. And a lot of people, when they see the moon phases, I see them only as 3 actually. I see the crescent moon, I see the full moon, and then I see the final quarter moon. So that's how I look at it, but everybody's got their own way of doing it. So like I said, these are for people that really want to get specific. So the first quarter, or the waxing moon, is from 7 to 10 days after the new moon. And when we say waxing moon, that's when the moon is growing. Wax, imagine wax. I know wax is burning, but still wax is growing. Waning is going in the other direction. So for the first quarter, or the waxing moon, the timing is sunset is the prime time to do magic on this moon. And the reasons would be courage, anything that has to do with elemental energies or elemental magic, something for friendship, for luck, or motivation. See, because the moon is growing, so that energy will compound upon itself and hopefully have fruition by the full moon. Then we have the Gibboness Moon, and this one is a funny thing because my granddaughter years and years ago learned about the moon phases. She was like 6, and she told me about the Gibboness Moon. I never heard about it. I said, what is that? So she had to explain to me, a 6-year-old. So the Gibboness Moon is 10 to 13 days after the new moon, and the timing for this is 10 to 11 o'clock. It doesn't matter if it's morning or night, 10 to 11 o'clock. And this is if you want patience. Now, personally, I wouldn't ask for patience because then you got problems. But if some people say, oh, God help me, I need patience, you might want to do that. Then we have the full moon, which is 14 days after the new moon. And a lot of people, the timing for this is midnight. Now, for us older people, we can't do it at midnight. It's too late. I would suggest in anything that has to do with the 3. So it would be 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock. You can even do it 12 o'clock noon, which 12 o'clock, but midnight is the best time to work. And the reasons to doing this on midnight would be anything that has to do with the arts, beauty, health, fitness, change, decisions, children, competition, dreams, families, health and healing, knowledge, anything legal, love and romance, money, motivation, protection, psychism, and self-improvement. So there's a lot of heavy-hitting things that you can associate the full moon with. Then we have the Disseminating Moon, which is 3 to 7 days after the full moon. This is when the moon starts to slowly shrink, but you might not really notice a big change visually, but it is. The best time is 3 in the morning. And now this is for addictions, decision-making, divorce, emotions, stress, protection. This is what a lot of negative energies. You're working with negative energies. It doesn't mean you're sending negative energies out, although some people will, and they will do it at this time. This is for you to get rid of those negative energies. because they're under the surface, they're deep, they're embedded. You got to really go into the dark. And 3 o'clock, that is a very special time, it's 3 o'clock. When you wake up from a dream, you get a message at 3 o'clock, 3:30, that is a spiritual time. Then we have the last quarter, which is 7 to 10 days after the full moon. And that's the one that I relate to. The timing, the moon rises at midnight and it sets at 12 noon. So you got a lot of hours for that. And it's to handle addictions, divorce, health, healing, banishing disease, stress, and protection. Getting rid of. Things you want to get rid of. Then we have the dark moon, which is 11 to 14 days after the full moon. And you know, speaking of these timings, you know, you can get a calendar. I'm not going to remember all this. I'm not going to go find the sheet and look at it. Not me. I don't know about you. But just get a calendar and it'll have everything on it. The witch's calendar has it. Astrology calendars have it. Date books have it. Just see when you can find out which moon is what, and you're good. So the dark moon is from 11 to 14 days after the full moon. And the timing is 10 in the morning. Now, I know that seems weird. It is. It's 10 in the morning with the dark moon. And that's to handle a lot of things such as enemies, divorce, justice, obstacles, quarrels, removing things, separating things, stopping stalkers, thievery. This is done during the dark moon. This is taking that dark energy as is and whipping it at the dark energy that you don't want. That's really what this is about. You're using that heavy duty, heavy energy that you're going to whip that bowling ball out into space. Then we have the lunar eclipse. It represents the perfect union of the sun and the moon. Any magic is acceptable on an eclipse. And when you have an eclipse on a moon, bam, that's even better. And we've had a lot of supermoons in 2020 and a couple of eclipses too. So we're going to see more coming. You're going to see them more, but that is extra oomph to whatever you're doing. It's going to magnify any of these correspondences and it's going to magnify the energy. So use it. That's a great time. Now the thing is, you don't want to do any kind of work when the moon is void of course. And it means the course, C-O-U-R-S-E, the course that it's on, not oh of course, course. It's in between astrological signs. It's like a black hole because the moon is also in astrological signs as well as the sun. It does have a major, but it also has ones it moves through every day. So it enters a new moon sign. The sun is going to enter a new moon sign, right? Cancer, Virgo, Leo, those are the astrological signs. It's like a dead space. When the moon is moving from one astrological sign to another, it has to travel, right? It's got to spin, it's got to move. Well, when it's halfway there, it's neither place, you see? So if you're going to use that energy, because it's a reflection, if you're going to use that energy to bring it to you, if you throw something out, it might not land the way you want it. It might go into a dead zone. It might go into a black hole in the universe, I call it. That's energy-wise. It'll just get sucked in and you'll never see it again. It won't come out the other side. Or it'll come out the other side a little wonky, you know, or a real glitch in it. You don't want that. So this here will be available for you to make a copy of if you like. But I do suggest getting a calendar. That makes it easier. Now, this is the timing for spells, and there's a reason for this. If you want to use the energy of the moon, of astrology, of the power flow for that moon, which is what you are, you want to be able to drag that energy to you so you can take it and whip it back out with the intent that you have. See, it's like taking electricity from here and putting it over here. That's really what you're doing. So you're tapping into these energies. So before you do that, you also want to have some ethics involved, because when you do spells, you can do them on the moons to have that extra oomph. Especially if you're working in a group, you want to make sure that you are. If you're doing solitary magic and you're not really sending out energy to the universe, you're keeping it in an item, or it's for you here on the physical plane, you're not really sending anything out. What you're doing is you're calling things up. So we have individual magic where we don't raise that energy, and then we have where we raise the energy and send it out for an intent. If you're going to raise it and send it out for an intent, I would use the moon phases. But if you're doing individual magic, which is what we're going to get into next time, which is a knot spell, that's individual magic. You're not raising a cone with a bunch of other people. You're not sending it out with a common intent. It's just for you here on the physical plane. You're putting energy in an item and boop, there it is. So we're going to talk about ethics a little bit, and I'm going to read here, and this will be available to you. This was by Lady Gwyn Thompson, who lived 1928 to 1986. And she was the teacher of the New England covens of the traditional witches. So this was also written, had a hand in it, written by someone in 1946, who is deceased, of course, 1946. But this is called the Wiccan Rede, and the Wiccan Rede is more of an ethical guideline. So I'm going to read it, and then we'll talk about it in a minute. So the Wiccan Rede is being known as the Council of the Wise Ones. Bide the Wiccan laws ye must, in perfect love and perfect trust. Live and let live, fairly take and fairly give. Cast the circle thrice about, to keep all evil spirits out. To bind the spell every time, let the spell be spake in rhyme. Soft of eye and light of touch, speak little, listen much. Deasil go by the waxing moon, sing and dance the Wiccan rune. Widdershins go when the moon doth wane, and the werewolf howls by the dread wolf's bane. Where the lady's moon is new, kiss thy hand, her times two. When the moon rides at her peak, then seek your heart's desire. Heed the north wind's mighty gale, lock the door and drop the sail. When the wind comes from the south, love will kiss thee on the mouth. When the wind blows from the east, expect the new and set the feast. When the west wind blows o'er thee, departed spirits restless be. 9 woods in the cauldron go, burn them quick, burn them slow. Elder be ye ladies' tree, burn it not, or cursed you'll be. When the wheel begins to turn, let the Beltane fires burn. When the wheel has turned a Yule, light the log and let Pan rule. Heed ye flower, brush and tree, by the lady blessed be. Where the rippling waters go, cast a stone, and truth you'll know. When ye have need, hearken not to others' greed. With no fool no season spend, or be counted as his friend. Merry meet and merry part, bright the cheeks, warm the heart. Mind the threefold law ye should, 3 times bad and 3 times good. When misfortune is enow, wear the blue star on thy brow. True in love ever be, unless thy lover's false to thee. 8 words ye Wiccan Rede fulfill, and it harms none, do what ye will. Now, I have seen a shorter version of this years and years ago. It was just a snippet. But this one is the original one, which I was very happy to come across years later. Because in here they talk about perfect love and perfect trust. When you enter into that circle, you are in between the worlds, they call it, where you're communing with the source of creation, the god and the goddess, those energies, elemental energies. It is a sacred space. It's like going into a church. And it also talks about the waxing moon, about getting rid of things. It talks about when the moon rides at its peak, then your heart's desire seek. Remember when I said the full moon is the time of really, really want something, okay? In here in the Wiccan Rede, they describe a lot of things of what witches do and the timing. And it's great. So I've got that in there for you also, but I wanted to talk about ethics a little bit because a lot of people have a misconception about Wiccans, witches, and people that do magic, that we're here to make someone do something. That is the most incorrect statement. It's such an assumption. Normally, when people do magic, they only do it for opportunities. They don't do it to bend anyone's will. Well, I've heard, well, if you can heal, then you can harm. Well, yeah, I could, but it doesn't mean I'm going to. See, because whatever I do, there's a repercussion. Just like whatever you do on the physical world is a repercussion. You can't get into your car and just drive into a flagpole. Yeah, will happen. Yeah, well, there's your free will. Why would I want to do that with magic? You know, there are people that do negative things by their intent, but it always comes back. And I would not want to have that repercussion in my life. I've got enough going on. The other thing is that of people paying people to do spells. No. In this series, I will teach you how to do your own spells. Nobody should do your spells for you. That's like someone doing your homework, someone doing your job for you, and you sitting on your ass. No, do it yourself. I would not want the repercussion of someone else's responsibilities. And why am I going to let them go skate free out of their crap? No, let them handle it themselves. So once you learn how to master your own life, that's all you got to worry about. You don't need to learn how to master someone else's life. So there are ethics here as far as what to do, what not to do. You can't make someone do something. Oh, my daughter's with this guy and I don't like him. No, people come to me all the time wanting to do spells, and no, I won't do them. I will not. Let them take care of their own stuff. So the Wiccan Rede explains a lot about timing. The ethics I explained to you, you know, whatever you do, and it works by watching this series, just keep in mind there is a repercussion for every change that you make. Every change that you make on the subtle planes, the astral plane, floats down through the emotional, the mental, and the physical plane, and there is a repercussion, good, bad, or neutral. Just keep that in mind, okay? So I'm looking forward to doing the knot spell with you guys. The only requirement that you would have is that you have a piece of, I would say, double thread. You can use a rope, you can use a cord, something that you can make 9 knots in. And it should be about this long. If you want to wear it on your person, you can do that. So just get ready for the next one, because you need about this big. I don't know how big that is, 12, 15 inches. Okay, embroidery thread, double over thread, something that you can make knots in that's not going to break. I would not suggest ribbon, paper, leather would be okay, but you don't want the knots to come out. You want them to be tight. So just find something around the house and bring it to the next video, and we'll do a knot spell. Anyway, you can check out the other platforms down below in the description. Also hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, good or bad. It's okay. And if you need to talk to me, please give me a call here at the Labyrinth, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. until 7 p.m., Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday, 12 to 5 p.m. And thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to next week. Bye-bye.